Ludus, Vulpes.
Welcome to Ludus Vulpes. My name's Kirsty.
And I'm Phil.
And you join us on our last day in Scotland. And wow, what a time it's been. So it is, you can probably see on there, it is 8 o'clock, it's Sunday evening, and it's been a wonderful weekend at Tabletop Scotland. Don't you think so?
So we've been up here in Scotland since Monday at the start of the week, and we've done a bit of touristy stuff. We've been to distilleries, we've been to see castles. There's a lot of castles in Scotland.
There are.
Some are ruined, some are wonderfully preserved, and there's everywhere in between. Yeah. And then we've ended the week at Tabletop Scotland on Saturday and Sunday, visiting all the exhibitors, catching up with old friends, making new friends.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. And that has kept us pretty occupied for the last 2 days.
Very much so, very much so. You know, it's fair to say that we didn't go to bed till this morning after editing, and it'll probably be a similar situation tonight.
No, it won't. Because we're off really early.
We are really, yeah. It's really important to us. We know that as content creators, independents, small publishers, don't get much coverage. We pop along. We love to, shine a light, and we try to get as much coverage out there as quickly as we can. So if we didn't get it out, apologies, but it will be following in the next coming week or two. You'll see all the footage that we took at Tabletop Scotland.
Yeah, you're going to get a bit of a bombard of videos from Tabletop Scotland, but we hope that it gives you an experience, a little bit of the experience of what it's like to be here. Things we haven't managed to cover, so we haven't really covered the open play areas. There are loads of open play areas at Tabletop Scotland, lots of friendly people who are willing to sit down and play games. So I think that almost taken as a given that you'll be able to get a game if you're up here for Tabletop Scotland. And the other area of the convention we really didn't get do an awful lot of coverage on was the role play area.
Yeah.
A massive, massive role play area covering all kinds of systems. Obviously D&D 5th edition, but everything you can think of around the fringes of that as well. Some incredible scenery and terrain set up for those games. You had a bit of a wander through the area. Yeah. Some fantastic looking stuff going on. But it's really hard for us to cover role plays because Kirsty's never role played. So that's something we might be looking to do in the coming months. Yeah. But other than that, we saw a lot of exhibitors and met a lot of people. Yeah,
well, I mean, we did obviously discuss with the organisers of Tabletop that maybe next year we could do a bit more coverage of the role play. We just want to make sure we're not treading on anyone's toes, filming anyone when they don't want to be filmed. So it kind of needs to be something that's pre-arranged in advance. So you can look forward to that next year, hopefully. Yeah.
So, Kirsty, what did you enjoy about Tabletop Scotland?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Scotland is such a beautiful place, but the people are beautiful as well. We have been so welcomed at this exhibit. Not that we aren't usually, but it's just gone from strength to strength. People have been really welcoming, really understanding when we've been lugging around a big camera and getting in the way.
Hang on, we've been lugging around a big camera?
Yeah, we've been lugging the camera. Okay. Yeah, but when we people have been moving out of our way. When I've been prodding microphones in people's faces, can you hold this? Can you clip it? And people have been so understanding that unfortunately not everyone can get to Tabletop Scotland. And their kindness, their support has meant that we have been, popping in and out of play tests taking place, taking up tables when people have been waiting, to showcase these games for people that couldn't get to Tabletop so we could bring it home for you. So hopefully you appreciate that as much as we do.
Yeah, the vibe is really chilled and there's a huge amount of space. And I don't just mean space to play games, but actually just space, like empty space.
Yeah.
Like the corridors and gaps between stalls are quite wide. You've got a lot of space and a lot of chilled vibe. So you're not bumping into people, you're not knocking people constantly. And that's a nice atmosphere, I think, for a convention because you're not constantly stumbling over people, which is great.
yeah, it's so accessible to all. You know, we've seen pushchairs, we've seen wheelchairs, we've seen people in crutches, we've seen all sorts. Like, there hasn't been anywhere, there's a lift at the venue, there hasn't been anywhere that's been out of bounds for anyone. You know, as Phil was mentioning, the amount of space, you know, we are coming out of a pandemic. You know, there is a lot of anxiety around, you know, people in small spaces. That was not an issue at this convention. It's such a well-spaced, well thought out. And speaking to the organisers today, that's intentional. They, you know, bear in mind, you know, this was my first experience at Tabletop Scotland. So obviously I didn't know if that was post-pandemic or if it was always that way. And it's been something that they've always, you know, it's always been key to them. They always want it to be accessible and for people to feel comfortable. And yeah, it definitely does that.
So for me, I think one of the big pluses and one of the things I've really enjoyed was meeting some small publishers who, some of them were at UK Games Expo and we missed them, but then you miss a lot at the Expo, even it might be 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have that opportunity to meet with people that you might have missed or scanned past. And I think a lot of Scottish publishers up there, up here, and that's been great to meet them and to find out what they're doing. And it's been great to meet with people and look at future projects. There's a lot of stuff coming to Kickstarter. You'd expect that, but it's a nice opportunity to demo games, playtest games that. You know, in 6 months' time, you're going to have the opportunity to back on Kickstarter, and there's some really good stuff coming out of Scotland that I think is probably well worth. And you'll see the videos and you'll make your mind up which those are. But definitely stuff that's coming out of Scotland that's well worth your attention. Yeah. And you know, if you don't come up here, you might miss out on that. And you know, a lot of us will make the trip to Essen as almost a pilgrimage. But actually, I think time spent to come to places like Tabletop Scotland is a really valuable time spent. You'll find yourself with a bit more time with games. You won't feel as rushed, and you'll be able to get a more full experience from games. Yeah,
you go and do a play test, or someone wants to show you a game that's coming to Kickstarter, or you know, doing it. It's not an example round like you get at Expo or Essen because you know it's someone else is booked in or something. You don't have the queues waiting. You get a full experience of the game, and that's been really refreshing.
That's been cool.
One of the things that, you know, hitting on like the cultural side and the heritage of Scotland, there's been so many games which are around the heritage of Scotland.
Or carry the Scottish theme.
Yeah, carry the Scottish theme. There's one which I'll be talking about, which picked up. But there's so many little nods to, like, you know, Celtic history, specific like folk legend, local folk legends, and it's a real. There's like a mystical, you know, magical vibe about some of it, and it's, you know, it's beautiful.
Well, should we get to some of the things we picked up? I think you should go. Like this is my pile.
Yeah.
And Kirsty can't hold hers in two hands.
I can. So obviously I supported the bring and buy because I'm all for reuse, and there's a couple of games which I've been looking at for a while. So I managed to get Matukaro, and I managed to get Tiny Towns, which is designed by Peter McPherson. And we went to the McPherson clan.
Clan Chief's Residence.
Chief's Residence, where we've been up here in Scotland because I have a family connection. So that's just purely fluke. We popped by the DigiSprite store, and I managed to pick up Doomsday Bots.
Not just Doomsday Bots, but also...
Oh yes, I was going through...
Oh, okay, sorry.
Adventure Mart and Familiar Alchemy, which again is another one that's kind of themed...
got a Celtic vibe.
Yeah, very Celtic and Highland.
Gaelic vibe.
Gaelic, that's the right word. And then I also stopped by at Bezier for connecting flights. So those are my little treats that I picked up.
Bazzite, not Bezier.
Bazzite Games, which I have picked up.
And you've wanted for a while as well.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
We cocked up on the Kickstarter. We missed out on it, so it's been great to be able to pick
had
this
a
up.
card issue. So Bazzite Games picked this one up for. So Phil, do you want to run through what you got before I carry on with my pluses?
Okay,
from the event?
Stout Stoat games were there, and Stoat are role-play publishers.
Yeah.
So, in the principle that we might want to get Kirsty into some role plays, we got some fairly straightforward systems. So we got Scurry, which is about they're one-shots. You play them as one-shots, and in Scurry you play a set of beasts who are going on a scurry. The scurry is the adventure, and you could be doing anything from exploring a human house to running through the fields to collect food for winter, whatever that might be, and whatever obstacles. And then the other one was on Adventures on a Dime. Second edition, but nice. Adventures on a Dime just reminds me of like some of the really simple role-play systems, early role-play systems that I used to play. So minimal stats with a really simplistic rule set, easy to grasp rule set that really encourages storytelling. So that's fantastic. And then on that theme, so that's Stoat. On that theme, I also picked up these two. Which are the Cult of Pajoli and Innsmouth, the Stolen Child. And these are from Blue Fox Game Books, Blue Fox Publishing. And they are and they are choose your own adventure books. And Kirsty has never read a choose your own adventure book either, so this is also exciting for us. So we get to have a go at some choose your own adventure stuff. So I'm really looking forward to those, and they were a great find for me.
So many firsts at Tabletop Scotland. So many firsts. Obviously we talked about the variety of small publishers and the independents that we got to meet. And then another thing for me, which I really enjoyed, was the opportunity to actually meet the designers of the board games, to actually have conversations, not just can I quickly grab an autograph or have a photo, but actually have conversations with them, and talk to like creative designers and writers, Simon that we were just talking about, all the way through to illustrators, Catherine Redgate that we met today. It's just a fantastic opportunity to meet fellow creatives. And it's been really nice to be able to actually converse with them.
Have time to chat, I think, is important.
Have the time to just not to get to know each other, but like learn from each other a bit as well, I think.
For me, the only downside I've had has been the 6.5 hour drive up here. But I don't drive. Kirsty doesn't drive. I would argue that's been worth the journey for all the pluses, and I'd highly encourage you to make that journey if you're anywhere else in the UK, and come to Tabletop Scotland, because it's a fantastic experience, and break it up like we did. Have a holiday around the edges of it as well. So the other thing that it sits around is it's Edinburgh Fringe at the same time. So if comedy is your thing, the opportunity to go up to Edinburgh and visit the Fringe beforehand, and then come up to Tabletop Scotland, which is about an hour out of Edinburgh. You've got that as an opportunity. If you always wanted to go to the Fringe, you never have. And you always want to go to just put them together.
Two birds,
just have a holiday,
one stone.
and come and spend some time up here, because it's just kind of wonderful.
So quick couple of thank yous. Want to do a quick shout out to Richard Denning. Thanks for guiding us towards this. We weren't sure at the time whether to go for it, because it's a long way up here, time, but we're so glad we did, so thank you very much for that. Thank you so much to David and all the gang behind Tabletop Scotland for giving us a chance with the press, and hopefully we've over the next few weeks you'll see that we've been trying to cover as much as we could. And a big shout out to you guys, really, and the sponsors, obviously, of the event. None of it could happen without them, and we couldn't do this without you, watching us.
No.
So we really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
if you've
you.
enjoyed our coverage of Tabletop Scotland, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you've been at Tabletop Scotland and saw us and had a chance to chat to us, fantastic. Share us with your friends.
Please do. If we missed out, if we couldn't get to you, couldn't fit you in, drop us a note. We do reviews of games. We do Kickstarter videos. We do, if you want coverage, we can work a way around it. So don't hesitate to get in touch. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. All you need to do is search for Ludus Vulpes.
Thanks for your time today.
Thanks everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
So apparently Phil didn't want me to get my bad bits in, and he's just gone to go and get a whisky now. So I thought I'd let you know what my bad bits of Tabletop Scotland were, and that was that it was a little bit over too soon. I really enjoyed it, and I had all these plans to do different things, and just ended up doing all the filming and playing lots of games, and suddenly it was Sunday night, and I'm filming the best bits and low bits, and that means I've got to go home, and I'm just feeling a bit down. But yeah, that's my downside. But yeah, hopefully you'll subscribe and give us a little thumbs up. Give me one. He won't know whether it's for me or him, so that's fine. Thanks for watching, everyone.